Hi, Ray Sawvell here, and today I'm going to have a video about marketing funnel strategy with Ben Page. Now, Ben is someone I used to work with in a agency setting, and dude's awesome. He's got a ton of experience, about 9 years or so. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Thanks, everyone. All right. And with me today, I have former colleague Ben Page. Ben has been working in digital for the past 9 years or so, and he is recently launching a podcast called the Digital Growth Podcast. Ben, do you have anything to say about the recent podcast you launched?
Hey Ray, yeah, I just wanted to begin producing content to share ideas and approaches
Yeah.
for digital marketers and business owners of all sizes.
Perfect. And if you guys want to learn more about the podcast, Ben's Twitter link will be down in the description, along with a link to the Digital Growth Podcast. But today he's going to be helping me discuss the very complex topic, but we're trying to make it simple, of marketing funnel strategies. So, Ben, what is the funnel?
Great question, Ray. Well, the marketing funnel, it's really a model. And it's a model that helps us understand the journey from a consumer in the market all the way through to a customer of your firm. And as a model, I think there are some challenges. There's actually a quote by British statistician George Box, where he says, all models are wrong, but some are useful. And I
Yeah.
think that's true here. Um, if you go online and you search for marketing funnels, you're going to see all different versions of it, some long, some short. Today, we're going to discuss a fairly simplified version because I think it's going to help us make it more actionable.
Exactly. And I mean, this is probably one of the more basic funnels you'll see around. We try to make it as simplistic as possible. And in regards to the topic for today, the different things we're going to be covering is kind of going over what the funnel is, which Ben has already dived into, some basic problems or maybe misconceptions of the funnel. And just to remind you, this is for the marketing funnel only. And then what we really tried to do was break this down into tangibles. So having a very specific metric or idea for what to look for and measure for every single part of the funnel. But yeah, I mean, when you think about it from a funnel perspective, you got to think of it full funnel. So not just bottom of the funnel. A lot of people tend to just pound the bottom, and I know I've seen that a lot in my professional career. Um, but Ben, what are some other basic problems with the basic funnel?
Yeah, I think on a high level, one of the biggest challenges with using this framework is it kind of assumes that the path is linear when behavior doesn't always reflect that. In other words, it's not as human behavior is not as simple as saying, become aware, become interested, have some desire, and then take action, right? There at different points, you could go from awareness right to desire, but then you could back up and lose your desire and go to interest and so on. So the journey is not usually a linear one.
Yeah,
Context is important, and I think the way that decision making happens, the way that emotions are involved, you need to build sufficient motivation for the user to get to the action step, and failing to do so can result in some interesting paths throughout this journey.
for sure. And kind of what I was just mentioning too is I feel like people get stuck in the trap of let's just try to get as many conversions as possible. If you're an e-commerce business, you may fall into the trap of, okay, let's try to get as many purchases as possible for my product. But what tends to happen is you could almost get in like a chokehold, is what Ben and I were talking about a little bit earlier today. If you're not generating that awareness or interest or desire, the people that you're targeting may get, they may get turned off to your brand, or you're just going to strictly run out of people. So it's very interesting to look at this model, especially it's not always going to be like one, two, three, four. It could be in different parts of the funnel. You could have five or six different funnels out there. That's like another key distinction as well. Um, but just a lot of misconceptions out there with
Hmm.
the funnel in my experience.
Yeah, you're right. And to that point, it's like this funnel model. It kind of assumes that all consumers are homogenous. In other words, to your point, you likely have multiple funnels in action at any given point in time based on the different groups of users that you're targeting. Or an even better way to describe that is for every type of problem you are solving, there's a different addressable market who has that problem in question. And for each group of those individuals, there will be, in essence, a different funnel.
Exactly. And I know we were talking about measuring the funnel, and I know the quote you had before. What can you tell us about why this is so difficult to measure? Any insight there?
Yeah, I think you have your basic challenges with attribution and multi-touch and
For
so on.
sure.
I think that alone is a barrier, but I think you need to be thoughtful about the KPIs that you choose to represent that a user has taken the step at that point in the funnel. I think too, in general, this is kind of another limitation. Not all funnels are created equally. So, in other words, you can choose KPIs, but one thing that isn't necessarily accounted for is velocity, funnel velocity. So, in other words,
Mm,
funnels can take different lengths of time to generate enough desire to
interesting.
spark the action. So, if you're an ecom business and you're selling a low price point, like a commodity product or something, it could be 1 hour, right? However, if you're selling, you know, B2B SaaS, huge ticket items, this could be, 18 months or 2 years sales cycles. So I think
Yeah.
that's another challenge, along with, the attribution and the fact that the funnel isn't quite as linear as the model would make it seem.
Funnel velocity. That's something I haven't heard before, I don't think.
Right. Well, and it's important. I think one of your earlier points, Ray, is people tend to focus on where there's the least friction. At least digital marketers do, right? We like to
Right.
build our marketing campaigns first, our branded keyword paid search campaigns, because we want to drive measurable results in terms of conversions and sales. But two other points that end, what allows you to reinvest in the top of the funnel is the payback period and the
For sure.
ROAS. So you can also look at, in addition to like funnel velocity, you can look at funnel efficiency. How much ROI is your marketing activity generating?
Yeah.
And in essence, the scope of that determines just how big your awareness campaigns can be.
That's a really good point. And I guess one thing to clarify too is I'm not saying don't hit the bottom of the funnel, like that's where you're going to make all of your money, or at least a majority of it, right? But you can think of it from like a bottom up perspective. So when you're building, if you're getting tactical about it, you may be able to start at the bottom of your funnel from a campaign setup perspective and like work your way up. So think about it from a bottom up perspective, which I'm sure many of you have heard of before. But yeah, kind of going back to measurables, Ben and I, we were trying to think about what are some key KPIs for each one of these areas of this basic funnel that we have. And what we tried to do was determine what are a key thing to look at from a campaign setup perspective, or what to look at to see if this portion of the funnel is working from a campaign perspective. So what we attempted to do, which I'm going to move up here, some technical difficulties, is Ben. Do you want to talk about? Do you want to start at the top? Or you want to start at the bottom? What are you thinking?
Let's start at the top. So let's think about awareness. And again, you'll want to go through this thought exercise for your specific circumstances in your funnel. But on a high level, we're basically trying to determine how to measure the amount of people that are going from general consumers in your addressable market, or people that you think have the problem that you're solving, um, people that have gone from there and made the leap to now becoming aware that you are a potential solution to the problem that they're having. Some ways to do that is we'd want to look at things like reach and frequency and total unique impressions and things of this nature, which again, measurement is improving, right? With as far as like cross device and user identification and so on. So I think that,
Yeah.
yeah, there's some good high level metrics.
Nice. Yeah, and we'll likely be having some more videos down the line diving into each one of these, but when I think about awareness and I think about the messaging that we're going to be doing from like a copy perspective, the message for every single part of this funnel is going to be entirely different. So you're not going to want to sell to someone who's extremely cold because they don't know you, they don't want to buy from you in that stage of the funnel. So when thinking about each one of these steps, I think it's extremely important to think about what that message to that consumer, depending on where they are at in your funnel. Um, the next step, though, that for the interest based here, one of the key metrics to look at is engagement. We know whether it's time on site, different engaging metrics that you're looking at on Facebook. Right now, they have heard of you before. They're aware of the problem that your brand or your business is going to solve to them as consumers. So right now, you're generating some sort of interest with them, and those different KPIs, like I said, could be time on site, but you're now one step further down the funnel, and they're not just hearing of your brand or your product, they're actually engaging with you in some way. So they're generating some piece of interest and are a little bit warmer than they were previously. um, but yeah, anything else on that point, Ben?
Yeah, I think it's just going from the conscious awareness and capturing attention at the top, and at this stage, it's kind of going to information gathering, starting to address some of the logical reasons why your product or service might be a good fit for
Yep.
them. And so I think, yeah, informational things here and engagement, whether you're talking about on the social channels or on your website, it's going to take some time for them to consume enough information to kind of get to the next step,
Yep.
which is desire. And we had some struggles trying to quantify this step in particular. It's the idea that the user has demonstrated that they have built enough motivation or emotions. I want that. It's like the I want that moment.
Yep.
It's kind of like when it clicks and it becomes real, not just logically checking the boxes of yep, it's got this feature, it's got this benefit, and so on, but really feeling emotionally pulled to taking action at the bottom of the funnel. So some
Exactly.
things, yeah, we talked about adding to cart, possibly filling out some kind of qualifying form.
Downloading a
Um,
white paper maybe.
exactly.
But yeah, I mean
Expressing
the
that.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
No, that's all. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of go to the final step of the funnel, which is, as I mentioned, what a lot of businesses tend to care about, and that's the action, or in most cases, a purchase. So they are at the way end of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, and they are now a customer of yours, and they are loyal to your business now because they have made that purchase, and you could potentially think about upselling them down the line as well. So, as I mentioned, I feel like a lot of business owners and even marketers tend to get stuck in how do we max out and scrape the bottom of the funnel. But if you're not doing things like at the top of the funnel or even mid funnel, you're losing out on the people in the bottom of the funnel to really market to and make them take that final action on your site.
Yeah, 100%. And I think what's most important again is putting this whole funnel in perspective, realizing that it's all about context, right? So whether you truly have one single funnel or there are 10 funnels acting in combination simultaneously, it's only to the extent that you address concerns, that you build that desire among that
Yeah.
user, and you really motivate them to know you're the best solution to their problem relative to any alternative solutions they have in front of them that they're aware of. Um, the ability of you to do that at scale is what determines how successful your action stage of the funnel is going to be.
Couldn't say it better myself. Don't ignore the bottom. Don't ignore the top of the funnel, folks. Funnel neglect is a real thing. Um, but yeah, I mean, from a marketing funnel perspective, that was it at a basic concept level. As I mentioned, Ben and I will likely be making more videos down the line that discuss each one of those, each step in the funnel in a little bit more detail. Um, but as I mentioned, check out Ben and his new podcast, Digital Growth Podcast. Link down in the description. He's on Twitter as well. Ben, any final words about the funnel itself or your podcast or what you're up to?
Well, Ray, you can't spell funnel without fun.
Oh,
And again, I think it's a useful model, certainly. We want to know if you have any questions about your funnel and your circumstances, because again, you have to put some thought into what the steps are in your case, what kind of metrics make sense, how many funnels you really have happening based on your products, your services, who your customers are. So if you have any questions with that, reach out to Ray and myself, and we're happy to help you.
great. Yeah, thanks, Ben. As I mentioned, all of his stuff will be down in the description. We're both on Twitter. Hit us up. Thanks, everybody. Bye bye.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Ben. Bye bye.